Hello, everyone, and welcome to round 2 of the Collegiate Chess League Spring 2023 season. My name is Joe. I'm the commissioner of the Collegiate Chess League, and I have a Division 7 matchup here today for you guys. This is a day earlier than our normal schedule. These two teams have rescheduled because one of them is in Singapore. We have Singapore University of Technology and Design against Sacred Heart University in Connecticut. So let's see what's at stake here for today. These two teams, of course, are playing in the regular season of the Collegiate Chess League right now. They're playing for a playoff spot in their division. Division 7 is still in the cash prize division. So there's a total prize pool of $30,000 on the line. That's going to be determined at playoffs. But here in the regular season, it's the top 6 teams in the group. So just for context, this is Group B of Division 7. This is the second group. There's only 2 groups. Each group has 8 teams. So these 2 teams are trying to get a top 6 spot to qualify for the playoffs. All right, the games are underway, so let's tune in and check that out. Here we've got Brent McCreesh here against Banting Krattending. So Brent is one of the team leaders. He's actually one of our ambassadors at Sacred Heart. I actually had the pleasure to meet Brent at Pan Am's just a few weeks ago, and he's playing up against Nathan, who is the bottom board from Singapore. So we can see Brent has a 2200 rating. He's definitely a very strong Division 7 player. He's stronger than some players in Division 1 or Division 2. But yeah, this isn't about the individuals' ratings. It's about the team ratings. So these teams do have a similar average rating. It looks like Brent's going for a sneaky mate here. Let's see if Nathan sees it. He does. He's pushed F4, and that allows for the queen to help protect the very sensitive G2 square. I see Disgruntled Patzer and Lance in the chat. Hello and welcome. Max is out here plugging our ambassador program. You love to see it. Let's see if we've got any other games going on. I see one here. This is Skoo Blue. This is Declan Coleman from Sacred Heart. You see he's at 900 rating against Katyusha. That is Dominic Yi from Singapore. So it looks like we have quite a couple of mismatched games here in terms of rating. Sometimes teams just aren't able to get a lineup or a roster that's similar in rating. Sacred Heart, they've been like this last year. 2 players over 2,000 and 2 players below 1,000. So it averages out, and it gets for some really interesting dynamics. What's up, Wikipedia? Good to see Jeffrey there representing Temple University, another one of our ambassadors. Yeah, this game, 1,700 versus 900. It's about 800 difference in rating. But Scoobu's playing well. I mean, he's also got his queen and bishop lined up. So if this knight moves here, for instance, you got to watch out. But I fully suspect Katyusha is not going to fall for it. Instead, brings the queen out to a4. Doesn't want to trade queens. Gonna start targeting some weaknesses here. Let's check on Brent's game again. Brent has about a 600 rating point advantage, but the position is still relatively even. Actually, the knight here on e3 is being kind of annoying. It's attacking the rook. It's attacking the pawn. Is this a free knight, you might ask? Queen takes knight? Nope. You got to remember, G2 is head. That comes with mate. So this rook should probably move maybe to one of these 2 squares, I would recommend. Or even, no, probably not there because the knight can take. But White's taking some time here, trying to think and figure things out. Let me see if I'm following all of the games. I don't see the other two. Feel like we're waiting for them to start. Ah, I see one. Wow, Marks 2300 from Sacred Heart, National Master. I didn't realize he was titled. That's really awesome. Definitely knew he was their top board. He's playing against Forks and Bells. That is Yogesh, second board from Singapore. All right, castle's long here. Ooh, this is a strong move. Wow, Mark finds it immediately. Just knight right in the center there, hitting pretty much everything. I mean, maybe if the bishop goes back, but that's such a sad passive move to make, and there's even rook takes. So, looking good here for the National Master. Probably expecting Sacred Heart's top two boards to go undefeated. Just my initial guess. Well, we haven't seen Jason yet from Singapore play. Username what do you want? Not sure if they're waiting or if they're not here yet, but we'll keep an eye out for that game when it starts. Here, Black going for the queen trade. Maybe queen check? Is that a thing? Is that something we could do? Queen check there is. Bishop block. No, going for the rook trade. I actually think this is kind of interesting. Going for the rook trade, a simplification. And the computer actually doesn't like that for white, interestingly enough. So an opportunity here, perhaps, for Forks and Bells. So we do see the trade, king takes. And now the move bishop to e8 is actually recommended. Just holding on to this pawn. Maybe pawn push also makes sense. F6, and we see that's been played. We could take, though, on c6. Maybe that will give white an edge here. This bishop still can't develop. This rook can't develop. So one of these pawns is going to have to move. Luckily, though, black should be pretty fine bringing either g or e pawn into the game. White, meanwhile, taking the center with the king. A lot of pieces have been traded so far. Only e6, and white takes the open d file. Very classic. Probably bishop to e7. Not played. Just the king stepping up. Maybe wants the bishop here, a more active square, and white preemptively putting pawns on light squares, pawns that maybe could have been targeted on dark squares. So we see white continuing the advance. Rook to the open d file. Rook left. Overall, though, material is even. So gonna be interesting to see how Mark can convert this. Because it's not so clear, it's not so easy. I'm thinking king e4 here. Feels very natural. Okay, we do have all 4 games underway. So it looks like Singapore, they have a more well-rounded team for sure. Sacred Heart has such a rating disparity. But this is the top board from Singapore. Jason, 1660. So I think they might have 2 players at 1660. Yeah. Britang here as well. Nathan. So Nathan and Jason, actually Forks and Bells is their top board. This is Yogesh at 1730. Ooh, this is going to win a pawn for white. So that is not ideal for Singapore. And Singapore's also down a ton of time here. Speaking of down time, Nathan down to their last 3 seconds. Luckily, there is increment, but you got to move almost instantaneously. Computer does not like this move. Rook to c1, that's pinning the queen, winning the queen. Queen takes out of desperation. 2 minor pieces, but it's not going to be enough, especially with the time scramble. Queen takes, just gonna mop up these pawns. Yeah, we have resignation. So Brent starting off the match with a Sacred Heart win. All right, let's check on this board. This board, kind of interesting. We've got a very large rating mismatch, but only up 1 pawn for Team White. Meanwhile, Black, active knight, maybe gonna try to stir up some trouble, but the knight is immediately questioned and attacked. But okay, knight here. The knight covers G1. Otherwise, this would be a mate threat. But Scoo Blue is fighting very well, and both players under 30 seconds in this match. Let's put a point on the board for Brent. So 1-0 so far. Trading off the rooks. The computer really didn't like this move for Black. What was the problem here? B5 it loved. Trading it doesn't like as much. But still probably good for White. Moving the knight over. Queen back. Queen check here was a fork. This is still hanging. So Katyusha and time pressure are going to hold on here. Should be able to convert this, barring any catastrophes. Pawn push is coming, in my opinion. Not even allowing a check. Yeah, we have a flag. All right, so Dominic ties the score up for Singapore. All right, here we go. Mark's game. Mark's up a pawn. Finds the best move here. B6, and now Black is in zugzwang. Steps the king back. H4 from White. Just gonna gobble up these last 2 pawns, and it's important to note these pawns they can work together even though they're not connected. So White gets the queen, and we have a resigner. So the top 2 boards for Sacred Heart getting the job done. We've got one last game of this round, a late start here. So still plenty left to play. And looks like Black has the center. Both sides have castled king side. Black has, oh, is that a, can we do rook takes f3? That's looking like a juicy move. Let's see if the 1600 can find a tactic. Remove the defender of g5. And if bishop takes, queen takes, we're on this knight here. And we see it. A nice tactical shot from the Singapore player, top board. Jason trying to tie things up here at 2. Yeah, hard to continue after this move. You don't really want to take on f3, but like, yeah, maybe take on e7 and then save your knight. So bring the knight back to d3 is one idea. Yeah, knight was not free. The bishop was pinning our bishop to our queen. Would have been a Botez gambit. So yeah, here definitely probably take. Computer, although, recommended bishop h3. Very bot-like move. The human move that was played in the game. Queen takes the knight. But bishop h3 has some pretty evil intentions. The idea is bring the knight in, block off this queen, and then give queen check. So not much time really for White to have saved the knight anyways. But definitely the more natural, instinctive move. So queen takes, queen out here, looking for checks. Maybe trying to lure this king out of the way. So maybe this is a good time to bring the bishop out somewhere. Just open up the rook to the back rank. Not really enticed to take this pawn because I like the king where it is here rather than getting chased off the board, giving a lot of loose pawns everywhere. So bishop h3 is played. This does open up the rook. The bishop is attacking the rook here, so probably you want to move the rook. Although this bishop's very strong. If white plays something else like queen here, yeah. Instead, rook f8, maybe gonna take this pawn if given the opportunity. Best way to avoid that, I mean, here there's this move, attacking the queen, defending the bishop as well. Nice little multi-purpose move there. Taking more control of these light squares. So this is looking good for Jason. And I think the other games aren't going to start until this one finishes. So queen steps back. So maybe we will see the knight hop in and defend this bishop, because that bishop is probably the best piece on the board. And you don't really want to move it. You want to support it. You want to defend it. So problem with knight f4 is that you lose the e-pawn perhaps. But there would be time to take then on c2. Instead, we see the bishop coming all the way back home. Back to its home base on c8. And we see an exchange sacrifice from Sharky. And black happily accepts it. Do we dare take on f3? I think we do. I think we do take on f3. That's one idea. You played Banteng? Yeah, I saw that. Hello, Brent. Good to see you. Good luck in your games today. I guess I have the order of the players wrong, but that's okay. I'm just going to leave it, honestly. It's all out of order. Yeah, like on Nace's platform, yeah. I'm assuming that's what you mean. Queen takes f2 here. This is going to be lights out very soon. Both players under a minute. No, takes with rook, hoping for queen to e8 check. Well, probably. That's my guess. Hoping. King goes to the corner. Now would be a good time to bring the bishop out. Both players at 30 seconds. I mean, black completely crushing, but gonna try to find the technique here. So bishop comes back out. Queen check, rook block, the obvious move. And black just needs to find the final blow here. There's rook f2, but then there's queen check again. Maybe there's queen block at that point. Nope, going with the queen instead. Threatening bishop to g2 mate. So you see the trade. A check. The king steps out. Rook goes back. We could trade rooks here if we'd like, but we can also take on c2. Probably better. I think it's old school scoring. Oh, this is a little windmill. Rook check, rook takes. Luckily, that doesn't come with check. Oh, this is going to be mate. Back rank. There you have it. So Sharky goes down. Checkmate by top board Jason. So after the first round, it is tied 2-2. So the captains will put in the score for this round, and then they can start the second round. But yeah, this might be the formula for the first few rounds. You'll have it tied 2-2. Like the top two boards will win their games, and then the way that the teams are gonna win is through an upset, either on the bottom board. Well, it'll have to be a bottom board upset, I think. So we'll see. One of these top boards from Singapore could take down one of the top two boards from Sacred Heart. It's not outside the realm of possibility. It's also possible that Sacred Heart's bottom two boards could squeak out some points in the later rounds. But these the first two are going to be tough since they're like mismatches. All right, so here we go. Round two underway. We've got Scoo Blue, Declan versus Bontang Nathan. So Nathan with the white pieces, looking good. Strong center for white here. Black developing slowly but surely. White might just castle here. All right, white has so many options. They're not sure what to do. They could castle or bring the queen up. Those are really those are the two that I have on. 1, 2, 3. Those are the only moves I see. Maybe one issue with queen to d2 is knight here is kind of annoying, hitting the bishop. So we see queen to e2, pressure on this diagonal, and keeping an eye out for the knight coming here. Maybe supporting this pawn a little more as well. And now black wants to develop this bishop and get castled themselves. White keeping the castling open as an option. You can go either way now. So queen to e2, pretty flexible move. Maybe worth the time invested to do it. Now you don't really want to castle that way because you're gonna get hit with a check. If the queen was still here, I'm wondering if we could have played knight here at some point, but I don't think so. Not right now, I don't think. Maybe castle's long is enticing. More pressure on this piece. Yeah, castle's long here. So this bishop's kind of in the way of the d file, but a knight here is not outside the realm of possibility. That's kind of a sharp move. But black would be able to play queen to c6. He's got poor settings, Mark. Okay, can you message them somehow? Who is your opponent? And can your opponent challenge you? They're also streaming, by the way. Shout out to Sivka Official. They're live. Let me give a shout out so you can try to go talk to them as well. Anybody can challenge you. Okay. All right, their team captain has told me that they are working on it. So they're trying to get that fixed. Welcome back, Max. You missed some exciting chess. Chicken nuggets. I thought about it for tonight. I'm gonna make some chicken and pasta instead. Okay, so we see here pawn push, and we have the bishop sacrifice. Why? Because the bishop releases the rook on the d file, and after this capture, knight takes is gonna win the piece back. So this tactic wins 2 pawns for white. You love the lopsided matches. Well, in the later rounds, it should be a little more balanced, but Sacred Heart, they're always like this every year. They've got 2 players over 2,200 and 2 players at 1,000 or less, and that ends up putting them at Division 7. literally like right dead in the middle of the average teams in the CCL. Our average team rating of all the players upon registration deadline was about 1550. So we've got 14 divisions, same as last school year. So literally anyone of any rating is welcome to join and play. Let's check on Brent's game. Brent's playing Katyusha, their top board, so this should be a good one. This could be the upset match that Singapore needs. So both rooks in the center for white. Isolated pawn here for black. Isolated doubled pawns as well in the A file. So technically, I think black is up a pawn right now, but I think that Brent's getting it back. Big man Brody in the chat. Hello. Individual prizes, we don't have those, Max, believe it or not. Okay, so bishop to e5, holding on to this pawn, actually. How is white going to get it back is the question. I feel like rook c5 is a move. I don't know how good of a move it is, but it is a move. Because if pawn takes, we take here. But it's 2 rooks for the queen. I don't know how good that is, but we are threatening to take this bishop, which is somewhat interesting. Of course, black can simply maneuver and defend against that. So if there's not really another purpose to go to c5 as a pivot square, then it's probably not a good move. Maybe rook to c6 might be a stronger idea to take this pawn. And we see it on the board. I wonder if the queen can just step up and attack the rook, because if you take like this, you're going to lose that. And you don't really want to sack the exchange to get a pawn back. Man, everyone's getting chicken nuggets. I have to, it's too late for me now. All right, rook to b6. Played. Also, why am I wearing headphones? I'm not listening to anything. I'm just naturally doing it. I see Brody. Brody has his eyes on the hat, the signed hat prize. You can't get into your match. Okay, Max, we might have to figure out how to use our admin powers. You've been waiting to. How did they play in the first round? Match. Do you know whose color is who, Mark? Who should get what color? It's okay now. You're in. Okay. Ugh. Half of my job is making sure people know how to play on chess.com. You're on your phone? Yeah, apparently they're good now. Yeah, Brody, maybe what I do with the hat is I put every ambassador's name in it. I literally pull from the hat. Oh my God, could you imagine if people bid on like how many entries they get and we just put those number of entries into the hat? Oh man, that's one idea. Now I'm thinking this could be fun. All right, there goes the A pawn. And Brent is up time as well. Okay, Sharky. Sharky lost to the old Forks and Bells. So nice moves here. Look at that. Could have given the king and the queen fork, but alas, didn't want the king running away to d2. Didn't want to prolong the suffering any longer than it needed to be. So queen takes on c2. Yeah, Max. We should have love on the pod. Wait. Oh, that's not what you meant? Oh, that was a typo? Wait. My bad. Sorry. I definitely yeah. Yeah. We should pull the hat out live on the podcast. Okay. Scoo Blue, very low on time. Let me put a point on the board for Forks and Bells, Yogesh. That's their first point of the match, so that gives Singapore a lead. Both these players below a minute. Brent, he wants to take this pawn, but he's going to get pinned. So he knows he can't do it. Both players now under 30 seconds. And this could be a really big upset win for Singapore. 500 rating point difference. He goes for f4. I looked at this. I wasn't the biggest fan. Black wins a pawn. If they take, they can take back. But their position is going to be slightly worse here. The doubled pawns are isolated, very weak. But it is an extra pawn. Because now, look at this. Black is getting activity here. Look at all of this activity. King to the corner, but you lose this pawn, and black is still up a pawn after all this. So I didn't like this idea from Brent going for f4. And sometimes that's the issue in these kind of mismatched games, is that there's all of this pressure. I would have pushed the pawn here. Actually, no, I would have blundered and lost because pawn takes defends the rook there. So very interestingly, rook here defends the pawn strategically or tactically. Oh, no, it doesn't because it comes with check. But watch out, that's a threat now. This looks like a draw, which would be a great score for the Singapore player. Both pawns are running. There's check and rook here. Is he going to find it? He does. Check and the rook can get back in time. Push and the rook gets here, and this is looking like a draw. But can the white king come here quickly enough? Probably not. This pawn's very fast. The king goes backwards. I would have gone forwards. Average rating in Division 7. Well, if you check our roster, you can see. Let me check that out for you real quick. Division 7 average rating is 1650 at the cap. Uh-oh. Wait, how is Brent going to stop this pawn, ladies and gentlemen? This is why you don't go backwards and you want to go forwards. See, the best move here apparently is king e3, but look at Brent's approach here. He's queened, but the queen comes with check. If he had an extra move, he could skewer, but he doesn't. And now this is Katyusha's game to win. Let's see. That is Dominic. Check. Looking for some forks here. It's not so easy. A king move. This allows Brent to start giving some checks of his own. Do you know how to build a fortress with the rook and the king against a rook and a queen? Very difficult in game. There's always stalemate tricks. Always stalemate tricks. So the rook is coming back to try to help support, but the problem is Brent put the king on the back rank. Very short on squares, and this king's going to get cornered and corralled, right? You're running out of moves for your pieces. Oh, queen d1 was mate in one. Missed, played now. King trying to circle in. The rook trying to keep it at bay. Remember, there's stalemate tricks, right? If the king's in the corner, the queen can't cut the king off for too long. Still trying to circle in here. Where's the knockout gonna be? We do have another result. Scoo Blue went down to Nathan. So Nathan's on the board. So 2-point lead now for Singapore. It's down to Sacred Heart's top 2 players here in round 2. Time is an issue here. It's not easy with time pressure. That's a pen. The king can get out of it. King comes this way, threatening a fork. Or not a fork, a pen. Hello, Subham. Good to see you. Lining up a discovery with the king. Any check. Unless the king comes here. Anyways, check here. Less than 20 seconds for both sides. What's the 50 move rule? Does anyone know the last move? That there was a capture? Any capture or pawn push resets the 50 move rule. So let's see. B1 equals... Right here was the last capture. This is move 57. So they have to get to move 107. They're at move 94. It's mate in 2. Oh! Brent was 12 moves away, but yeah, let's see where he went wrong. Rook here was the problem. But this is a mate in 4. He needs to play... Oh man, it says rook f4 check is the only try. Hoping for queen takes for the stalemate. But it was not to be. Brent goes down in an upset game. That's 3 in a row for Sacred Heart in this round alone. So, well played from Dominic, 2-0. That could be the match right then and there. That is Singapore's top-rated player, though. But match is not over yet. We still have Mark here up against Jason. Isolated pawn here for black. Mark also down a little bit of time. He castles. The knight is holding down the fort here. Yeah, Sacred Heart has a 2200 and a 2300 and a 900 and a 1000. So all right. Jason spent a lot of time in that move. Both players under a minute. He decided on h4. Mark trying to trade the fianchettoed bishop. Kind of a peculiar move. But black is up a pawn. So trading down is understandable. Yeah, very, very intriguing when the player with the fianchettoed bishop is trying to trade it and the other player is trying not to. But this bishop is really well placed. A nice outpost in the center. No pawns to contest it. The knight comes in saying, if you don't want to take my bishop, maybe I can entice you with a pawn trade. And now this gives black a 3-on-2 majority. Bishop check. So the bishop's outpost, the anchor had moved from d6 to c5. This bishop has been upgraded now, taking away the g1 square from the king, forcing the queens off the board. Here, this doesn't seem very good. I don't know. Well, the rook is defended, so any rook discovery, my point is that this bishop hits the rook backwards. However, I think black can just calmly move on. I guess this rook is hitting this pawn, though. So, yeah, now both players under 20 seconds. c4 played. Outside pass pawn, supported by the rook. This pawn's a runner. White has this pawn, but is it going to be enough? I don't think so. It's a little slow. This pawn already over halfway there. Living on a prayer. All right. 3 seconds now. 2, 1, 3 seconds back. Bishop takes with check. Pawn push. You're not going to stop it. Queen on the board. 1 second. Resigns. So Mark keeping the score 5-3. So no sweep for Singapore in that round. But that is exactly what Singapore needed. A win from Dominic over Brent McCreesh. Singapore's leading by 2 games. You should have taken the draw. It's tough, man. I was literally saying that. I think that it's tough when you have the rating mismatch, because as the higher rated player, you feel that you have to win every single game. And what happens is you over push. So it came back to that f4 pawn push, I think, by you, to complicate things. But I don't think it was in your favor. I think you just had to move your knight backwards or somewhere. You had to move your knight. You instead attacked the piece, and then that extra pawn. I mean, it was still a draw. Even the rook and pawn endgame, you just you were too passive with your king. I think you went backwards when you should have gone forwards, been more active. Yeah, something that Brody knows all too well. Brody, definitely a seasoned veteran here in the Collegiate Chess League. I think he has 1 match under his belt. Brent, this is at least Brent's 2nd season. I forget. I think he played both seasons last year. So this might be season 3 or season 4 for Brent. All right, we have a game aborted. All right, Mark, he was the last to start his game in the previous round. He's the first to start here. This is round 3 underway. Mark, 2 for 2. He has 2 of Sacred Heart's 3 points. This match is far from over, folks. We're only halfway through. We could still see some major upsets from the Sacred Heart bottom boards. It's definitely possible. Knight back, hitting the bishop. So we'll likely see the bishop move. So Mark, he's brought out both bishops, and Nathan has brought out both knights. Some prefer bishops, some prefer knights. And looks like Mark is giving up a bishop for a knight there. SIUE might have to forfeit this week. No, you can. You should at least know. It's like 12 hours before your match. Perhaps a reschedule is in order. All right, knight to f3. Getting ready to castle. Bishop here could try to prevent the castle, but not played. Bishop to e7 instead. Queen up to e2. A capture and a recapture with the pawn. Opening up the file for the rook. Castle kingside. I'm expecting the same for white. Maybe another move. A pawn push. What time am I doing commentary tomorrow? Well, default match time is 8 a.m. Pacific for Group B and 11 a.m. Pacific for Group A. So expect me to be on for those 2 hours at the least. And then I will try to look through all of the reschedules tonight and see who else I can commentate for. So that's typically what my Friday nights are. I look through the reschedules. Tonight I saw Sacred Heart in Singapore playing. I really like this night for white. And really gonna like it a lot when it gets to e4 as well. There it goes. All right, bishop trying to get on the main diagonal here. Pressure on the knights. He wants you guys to forfeit. Who is it, Brody? Also, if any team has like reasonable notice and an excuse as to why they're missing a match, like, or if they're having trouble negotiating reschedules, just let me know because I can help with that. I will definitely be able to reach out and try to convince other teams to be cooperative. Cephalopod doesn't ring a bell. Yeah, I mean, of course, any team can decline a reschedule. All right, f5. Trying to open up this king side like I can. Trying to push this pawn forward, open up this bishop. Put a pawn on f6. Put a knight here. Pawn to g5. All right. Black snaps. Takes on e4. Queen takes. Queen in the center 4 squares. Black can try to trade queens. White can accept and damage black's pawn structure, but you can also decline the trade and stay on the board and continue the attack. So Mark's playing well. We do have some other games underway. Ooh, captures here, and you see the eval bar creeping up. Takes back, and look at this. Rook to the center, opposite the queen. Saturdays are hard for Logan and Brian. I like how you have to say Brian's first and last name. Okay, so what is the issue with this move? What is the knockout blow? Computer likes this move. Also likes this move. Also likes this move. This one is definitely better than this because this kind of loses a pawn because of that pen. Bishop steps back, but still feel like these are good moves. Hello, white noise. Tiger Joe, I see you're in the chat. I had your opponent try to reach out to you apparently. From McAllister, I believe. Do you think you can try to respond to them? I think they're trying to reschedule. I'm like negotiating SIUE's reschedule right now on stream. You accepted it? It's just 1 hour earlier. Okay, cool. Maybe I'll stream it. I don't know. Brody, what school is this person from? All right, the queen comes over to e7. Rook to the e file, defending the pawn. This knight is just so sad. It's got to go here, and even then, these pieces are in the way. Rook up. Really trying to get at this. Knight here seems to be a good move. Computer also likes knight here, but it's kind of interesting. Knight to e5 has been played, but this does drop the pawn. So what's the follow-up exactly? Michigan State. You know who else went to Michigan State? Max. Max was in the chat earlier. I feel like he's no longer with us. Because if he heard Michigan State and didn't say anything, tisk tisk. All right, rook takes on e6, and now knight to g6. We've got Aliekin's gun here loaded up on the e file, ready to fire, but the knight hitting the queen. This rook and queen sandwich here. Yeah, Brody, it's unfortunately not looking good for you, pal. But I do think that well, I don't know. It's hard to say. All right, rook takes an exchange sacrifice, and then the queen sacrifice for both rooks, but not really both rooks. Well, okay. Yes, both rooks, but you gave a rook up, so. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's recap this. Best move was rook takes e1, knight takes, and then rook takes, or rook takes back. But instead we have this, and it's a queen versus rook and knights, but there goes the knights. Bishop's hit. Bishop steps up. Would love to see queen takes here at some point. But the rook is now there to defend. So now queen here looks really good. Queen here, less good, but good nonetheless. Looks like Brent won his game. So Brent back on track. And Katusha, 3 out of 3. Mark wins his game also 3 out of 3. We've got 1 game left. Let's look at Katusha's game Seems that Katusha, top-rated player for Singapore, not gonna be beat today. Very nice mate. And let's check on how Brent's game finished. So Brent, after losing that long, hard-fought match, bounces back with this nice back rank checkmate. And we've got this one final game left in the round. Both players under a minute, and it's not looking good for our boy in blue, Scoo Blue. He's down a knight. So looks like Jason's gonna be able to maintain Singapore's lead. Brody, you're a solid player in any division. A bad Division 4 to 5 player. This knight gonna round up these pawns. Perhaps. White playing for stalemate tricks. Brody, when did you ask them? All right, stalemate. Odds of stalemate. They seem low, but they're never zero. Knight check, king out, queen. Not taking the knight, as the knight surely complicates things. Knight tucks back. We're going for queen number 2 with check. All right, where's the ladder mate? The queens are loading up here. There you have it. Easy peasy. All right, what do you want? Is 2 out of 3 now. And we have one final round remaining. Sacred Heart gonna need 3 out of 4 to tie it, to force overtime. So they're going to need the top 2 boards to win, and they're going to need an upset on one of the bottom boards. It is possible. They can do it. Their bottom 2 boards still looking for their first points. Singapore, they're looking to split or win this round to win the match. So that's definitely doable. You could have an upset on one of the top 2 boards, or you could have your bottom 2 boards get the job done. Just play solid. So Singapore, by the way, if you guys want to check them out, they are live right now. Shout out to Sivka Official. Sivka stands for something, but I think they share that channel amongst a lot of different Singapore schools, which is pretty cool. So there's actually a decent chess scene with the universities out in Singapore. I think we are connected with at least 3 different Singapore schools. So this one is Singapore University of Technology and Design, SUTD. There's also like Singapore Institute of Technology, and there's like another one that I can't remember. But yeah, and they don't only stream for CCL. They stream other tournaments that they're competing in. There's a lot of different college chess tournaments out in Asia that they've competed in. So it's cool stuff that they're doing. And they're looking to win some prize money from the CCL. So they're looking to do well in the playoffs. Sacred Heart, they've historically been a playoff team. They've done well. A lot of their games go to overtime because of just the rating mismatches. They have the top two boards win and the bottom two boards lose. But Singapore, they played a good game against Brent in round 2 with their top rated player Dominic, who so far is actually undefeated. We might have to try to take a look at this game here. Both these players are 3 out of 3. Mark definitely the favorite, but Dominic, he's already done his job. He got one of the top 2 boards, but if he can get a draw or even a win in this one, then that's gonna pretty much seal Sacred Heart's fate. At least Dominic has the white pieces here, so definitely helps out the chances. All right, Mark's just continuing development. Both knights out for both sides. White's a little ahead in development. Can already castle here if they want. And they do. Am I valing tonight? I'm not really planning on it. I have to be up early tomorrow for stream. My last Val experience was pretty bad, to say the least. All right, bishop out. Black trying to castle as well. All right, we see a bunch of trades. One pair of knights off the board. Is white winning a D pawn? Let's see what happened here. Pawn here, pawn push. Yeah, that was not ideal from the National Master. I thought pawn here. Yeah, here knight takes, pawn takes, pawn takes, pawn takes, knight takes. We're threatening check and win the rook. Queen takes. Now the rook is hit. So white's simply up a pawn. Probably b3, bishop b2. Looks good for white. Bishop check, just simplifying even further. Definitely block with the bishop here, right? And takes, check. King up even more. Pawn push and this again. So what white's doing with that last check and trading down, simplifying the position when you're up a pawn, makes it a lot harder for the player down material to mount a comeback. And we do have same color bishops, but notice white's advantage is a 2-on-1 on the outside, but the promoting color in the corner is white. So that's going to be hard for the dark square bishop to really do anything about that. Rook d2, kind of a peculiar move, and now we see bishop to b4 hitting the rook. But I think that the rook needed to step up if white wanted to develop to b2. So that's why we see the rook up. And now we're looking for a potential trade here. Mark probably doesn't want to trade, but he does. Yeah, if you left the rook on the back rank and play bishop b2, then the rook comes into c2, which is pretty annoying. So rook preventing access on the second rank, but Mark gonna try to enter white's territory some way, somehow. White clearing the back rank, making space for the king to step up. This d file is completely open, so Mark's gonna take it, but really no entrances for either rook. You don't really want to park both rooks here. These are not the best real estate on the board for the rooks, but maybe doubling for black would be one way to get in. Also, this rook just giving a little bit of pressure on the b pawn. King steps up. Rook defending the pawn, perhaps threatening a check. Rook doubling now. So yeah, really trying to hold these pawns back, because then these pawns will fall. Although this pawn can give a check. But no, we see the rook's doubled on the second now. Maybe black can use this opportunity to go from the third rank to the first rank and try to harass from behind the pawns and harass this king as well. This, dude, I am so nervous for this f3 pawn push. Like, rook here, and that is really close to mate. It would be mate, actually. So, just to show you. a5 now. White looking to try to trade some rooks down. We do see one trade. Now this rook takes the d file. Threatening mate. No, it's not, because this pawn will fall. So, uh-oh. Uh-oh. That's not good. White forgot that the pawn on e3 was not defended. That probably they were thinking, like, this is checkmate. But no. King takes on e3, and now material has been restored. But now black has a commanding position in the center. Way more active than white. Look at these pawns. So, yeah, 4-3 here. Big mistake from Dominic. And now Mark has an opportunity to pounce. How's the rest of the match going? Looks like Forks and Bells beats what? Game abandoned. That doesn't seem right. Well, how's Brent doing? Brent's pretty much in a must-win situation with the black pieces. Strong pieces for white. But Brent's there. He's got his bishop covering some of these weaknesses. Pawn push, trying to get the bishop out. Brent low on time as well. How's this game going? Any upset here? Doesn't look like it. The Sharky King down a couple of pawns. Hitting the rook here. Yeah, and black's king is just so safe. Now there's a check. Nope, trying to threaten mate. So it comes back. Can the pawn push? I would push the pawn. I think that's a strong move. Why? Because yeah, we've got. All right, well, don't three-peat. White's trying to hold on here, trying to go for repetition. There is a queen check now. Nope. Doubling this way, threatening mate yet again. But there's no rook backwards this time. Oh no. This is going to be tough. Push here, maybe. But there's going to be these checks. This is not looking good. Maybe the king needed to go here. You can come out this way. Maybe. Maybe. Probably not. But actually, who knows? I think it's losing a lot of different ways, though, unfortunately. How's Brent's game doing? This is kind of a crazy time scramble. Both players at 10 seconds or less. Man, this... Oh, I thought that was the king. No, the king's over here. Okay, Brent's down in exchange. But his bishop is really well placed. Maybe pawn push. What? No, Brent! That was not the move. That was not the move. Oh, no. Oh, dearie me. He's getting mated. Oh, no. Brent dropping 2 games. That might be the first time he's ever done that. Crazy. All right. Sharky's going to lose this one. How's Mark doing? Mark looks winning. Let me see. What do you want? Beating Brent there. So they're 3 out of 3. That was a big upset. I guess Forks and Bells won. That was kind of a weird game. Okay, here. This pawn's going to come in. Nope, king just takes that, interestingly. King defends the pawn before giving check. Check is now there. Check has been played. Check again. King's going away. Pawn takes. Whoa, rook takes with check. Not what I was imagining. Rook behind the pawn now, very well placed. You lost to an 1100. That is unfortunate. Okay, Sharky lost his game to Nathan. So no upsets from Sacred Heart's bottom 2 boards. Yeah. Brent lost 2 games, and Mark should convert this one. F1 equals queen coming up next. With check. Rook to G1. Ah, a rook promotion. Rook F1 check. Nope. Takes the pawn. Rook check here. Going for a third rook. Check, check, and rook A1 mate. There you have it. +1 rating for that. So Mark goes flawless, 4 for 4 against this strong Singapore team, and it is 7-9. Is that right? I kind of gave Brent a 3rd point. I don't think I meant to do that. Brent should it be at 2? Right? Who did I not give a point to? Is it Forks and Bells? I think I missed. I think this is it. 10-6. Derpin Card, thank you for being here and thank you for playing. Yeah, Brent, it was tough. It's all good. Katusha lost. So they should be at... Well, they lost this game. Yeah, I gave them... They still, I think, went 3 out of 4, I think. This is Group A, Division 7. No, this is Group B. So if there's like an international team like Singapore, they're most likely Group B. Also, Sacred Hearts in Connecticut. So yeah, that's like East Coast and International. I think the overall match score is right. I don't know if the board points are right, so I apologize for that. But thank you all for being here. That's it for me today, but we have a lot of matches left for tomorrow, so be sure to check that out. I don't have the full schedule yet, but I will at least be streaming at 8 a.m. Pacific with probably a Division 1 Group B match. I'm going to have to check that out right after this. But yeah, lots of chess left this weekend. Don't forget, we also have our Sunday weekly prize arenas. If you'd like to join that, let me know. A lot of your clubs might be already invited. Some of them maybe not. But we can definitely get you in there. And not only does every week have a prize on Sunday, but we will have an additional prize to give out at the end of the regular season. So we're going to be adding up all of the scores for all the teams in the Sunday arenas. But yeah, this is round 2 out of 7 of the regular season of the Collegiate Chess League Spring 2023 season. My name's Joe, and I am out for tonight, so thank you all for being here. And stick around for this weekend. See who's going to be playing. We've got some exciting matches coming up. All right, let's find someone to raid. So appreciate it if you guys stick around. But with that, have a great rest of your Friday night.